I do this with no rehearsal in one take. Yo, because I'm great. Vapor guarding the horizon, vaguer than the garments of a wise man, taking to surgery like an escort, to making the words beneath their metaphor stay their burnished gleaming cells before the rapes. They certainly didn't enter the workforce to serve or perform. His head in the clouds like a weather balloon, the veritable giant of the heavens, the Mac swimming in hose and illicit weapons, the crack delivered in his motorcyclical elegance, opening you with a message, her vaginally gibbous whole a lunar crescent, holding up a pimp hand to those who want to stiff the rap, or vainglorious harlots of the Vancouver General Hospital, taking the form of spiral stairs up to Vancouver's greatest hustler, leaving atip the wise fools of Seattle. Yo, we forget my musical background, the sea living its life bluesier than Africans, decriminalize human trafficking and malpractice in the ICU. What else were these writers supposed to do but slice into speech? It oozes out like dreamy oohs and ahs, spitting fragments of red and watery blue into the spaces between thoughts, confused as inpatients of the General Hospital, suing our masters for egregious malpractice. More gibberish from the greatest poet of all. No, he's for idiots, the fake golden watch. No, the real shit was always Drake, or his opposition within his two-party system, as rubies sparkling upon his crown. Yo, Mbaruk was really down when it came to using crack cocaine, freestyling like a Mac, so open to the first of the page's documents, wherein he uses his sacred wordplay to invent more strange verses to say. In this way, he'd adopted from rehearsing on the tape. Alright. That's Vancouver's greatest hustler. Mbaruk, Andrew, darkly the Charmander, mouthing Bulbasaur, ironically, like fuck the poor, I want an NFT. Whoa, is that a fucking Raichu? We fuck off Jigglypuff and ketamine, why don't you? Fucking knife you, fight you for this parasect, like its food, smite you like Yahweh scrolling through the Pokédex, grabbing out the Pokemon with his bare hands. Is that an Alakazam, if it's fair to ask? Polyrath in his bag, sharing nostalgia. It's not natural, clearly bad, as Weepin' Bell opening your ears for this phallic ego ash. Catching them all, as the fishermen catching them all, as the DSM fanning the moths of Christendom into the black holocaust of his flames. Why not so never again the middle passage, as in the riddle explained a subtraction, written on the waves by a mathematician. Millions of slaves drawing Africa into the vortex, ships insane, it's not natural, clearly bad for business, until the free Palestinians bequeath their land to Israel. Let's leave that issue to the real aboriginals. Scrawling Kill King Kong, an acronym, atop the building till he falls, and that's the end of the film. A blockbuster naturally, and therefore a meditation on capitalism, terraforming the arid nations of Africa, giving these losers something to do that doesn't involve themselves and their stupid freedom to serve below human beings as the dirt they stroll through to reach excellence, black as a crow or a bat. No matter the tone of your laugh, no matter the modes of your jazz, no matter your poem's acrobatics, no matter the soul which is transparent. Diamonds are forever. Rhyme scribbled as the black of his chest hair, lines squigglier, the path neath the evergreens, remindful of back when those more regular lines of the city were still traveled sans pedicure. Diamonds, a rapper's best friend, as sure as shinily hanging from his neck here, outside the chapel with Earl's sweatshirt and Mike. These are Howlin' Wolf's descendants, though his powerful words bled from him. Surrounding ours in red ink, the poet has friends in his corrections, those living the blues almost as guests in it, as tourists all collected on the bus. Look, it's Blind Lemon, but on such drugs as ecstasy and constant lust. Yo, all your songs are about human greed, as 21 Savage polishing his jewelry and rapping like it's not the end looming near. You may want to go to school, my dears. Study Socrates' self-eulogy. A truth unexamined is not beauty. Those jewels and dancers in your music videos. The universe understanding itself stupidlier. I'd rather hear the student reading Rilke rap his weird pseudo-speech ridiculous but blacker than rubies and other glittery stones. Andrew needs to rub into his enemy poets' faces his great success making it. Like Drake, I guess. Caught as Tuna in all we do, inside alternate tunings of sonic youth. I watch my music wander from my use into my rumor swallowing muse eternity, serving me as gyres did Yeats, as fire did Satan, his pandemonium. Why didn't they dig rap in fragments? The tuna carved in that clay thing, an artifact dating back to when Andrew Mbaruk had no language yet. Jesus Christ with the loaves and tuna, writing his poetry in the tuna tongue, which, and I know you won't believe this, but it's close to Proto-Indo-European. Perhaps we've more in common with Tuna, said the Nazi or communist to his computer. The chat GPT too dumb to have a unique opinion on Tuna. Wow, this android speech was different from Judas. How? Was Johnny Tunaman not a cyborg? Half tuna, half dinosaur drone droid? Back when Jobs wrote code for the unemployed. You were past the night sea journey. As canned tuna now alive in his poetry. You laugh, but why? It's not a joke to me that the poet's lantern was like a ghostly school of mackerel, inspiring me to poetry bent post-vegan. Tuna don't know what it's all about. It doesn't even occur to Tuna to complain about the injustice of the food chain. Yo, mumbling in Chinese, his raps like a dragon and puffing violently, baptizing in flames the village, and then he hires me to analyze and frame it as innocent, scrubbing shiny with anti-hatred, his struggle to side with Vancouver's diverse shades of man humbled by women, but that's kinda ableist, struggling to hide even the passions behind his naked lust, rubbing out white speech so black lives can languish along the sides of the streets and in alleys while he makes it. The margins were deep as valleys of wild maples, but it's concrete graffiti, bottles and shiny fragments, these non-people just watching while we feign listening, comical really. Decolonize the spaceships, the Hottentot screameth sort of falling while he takes a piss. 2026, when the flowering music of the trees blends its sound with a rumor of weed. Dude, when did the town get so gloomy, losing the energy to power their illusions? Fight the power right now in the street. Light the cannabis, sniff lines of powerful speech. Fight the power, though it might not mean brewing a mead, nor biking thousands of I-ams over Vancouver feet, their flight downward at midnight or now closer to 3, an IMAX film. As monks we bow before the screen, in the vast of the vagueness of the sea. This track distracts from its meanings, elastic, like green leggings torn into phonemes, Drake. I'm black, that's how they see me, born into an ongoing police chase. I tried crack and speed, but as widespread African peace, crime attracted grief, wild as crack free-based. I likes my vinyls blacker than me, don't break them. Can you fight the powers that be and don't break them? Andrew, by writing the flowers of evil, a vocal fragrance, like how Hitler speaks with his whole face and hands, so the rose beneath his phallic nose, perfuming Vancouver below him as performing Hamlet, using that method acting bullshit, presented as madness to the good king. Yo, how are you gonna fight all the power, serving the devices in your watchtower? There's Mbaruk on his back in a pose whorish, the theremin swooning in romantic horror. Fight the power as white accountants in the trees, when society loses power. How like electricity were the white and blue flowers, as lights when you could count on their gleam. White the powers, Wipe the powers that be. It's well known that death brings decay, as telephone the blended meanings game, wherein we hold our hands to the ears of our friends and haven't told the last thing we'd heard to them. They transformed that egg into the bird unrecognizable, as Saturdays spent in words instead of beside the road like a hoe, in black threads like poetry lines of old. Lines of old, in black threads like poetry lines of old. In black threads like poetry lines of fight the power. Fight the power. Fight the power. Fight the power. Tuna cancelled? Or were we airing tonight? Yo, is your can sealed? Andrew Mbaruk's verses is airtight. Imagine being Tuna. Scary, right? Seeing truths that's not there. I'm not a tuna, but if I were, God would be the great tuna beyond compare. Tuna melt modern, a student of froth and foam, the hip-hop poet. Tuna rap could lead to moving crack, I guess not. Tuna at bottom are just quarks and electrons messing with Mbaruk's head forever. Like getting a quartet together, poetry and music mid-Holocaust. Confusing the simple waters. The tuna wriggling through this song, the fish in water outlast Schumann. The hip-hop blogs doubt black music. Still swimming about after the humans. Move your fins. What do you mean you don't serve tuna, man? I've been blue since the blues have been around. Yo, I eat tuna wherever tuna's allowed. The tuna many, tuna's a crowd. A school of mackerel making a musical racket as tubas and saxophones, the Tuna Live crew, scuba diving through to the tuna file in you. Yo. Johnny Tunaman, comedy soothsayer, his soothing prayer to the tuna we never cared for till they were food, and then maybe a little more fish upon the dish. The lowest hanging tuna, his rhymes left over, his frozen foods piled in the refrigerator. This boldest of tuna nights, dark black. Tuna like cars on the track, sparkly bright, Mbaruk with the pipe musing his Sartrean insights into tunaphobia. 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 Tuna can, tuna cancelled, tuna cans. Tuna's cancelled, tuna can, tuna cancelled. This cat just walked up and entered my path. He goes, "How's your unconscious? I bet your cat knows." Frolicking in the depths of your past like a ghost. Cats aren't communists, they're about that capital. Yo, I first got to know Pierre as a lad. Old Andrew Mbaruk's first word was cat with no T. It wasn't yet the perfect time to rap, as little bubbles in circles in your bath saws the solidity of such cat-like consonants as T. But now this strange feline started haunting me on my walk by the seawall, and Mbaruk, he walks with me. How's your fragile ego? I bet Nigel knows. The cat whose life in East Van Reddit compiles 20 signs on a post. He's a spy, you see that? The many Nigel jokes belie the truth. He's a camera, spying on the ghosts of Hastings and Commercial, collecting tapes of all our words, though let's leave Nigel alone if he wants to be a microphone. My cat companion now stops me on the seawall with a third question. How's your naughty needful kid? So needful, needful as cocaine to Freud. My dear wife's cat, Playboy, wandering our home with the swagger of a cop controlling the city's flavors. It's hot cocoa in the winter and a cake dessert in May. The words all conjure black licorice. Hip-hop has given us the image of Playboy in words. Play this verse when you want cats to listen, and stop all that indolence. Now the feline psychoanalyst by the seawall writing Andrew's prescription leaves them all excited. Did that really happen? I might be silly off the catnip. Yo, above the fray, as Lenin reading the stuttering ways of his planeti. Yeah. The Russification of space and speech, a galaxy totoaleticheski. Forgive my terrible Russian. What is to be done? Away with the chess pieces, Bezdelniki and friends of Nietzsche. Mbaruk looking snazzy in his cravat, Kravatia, the black aristocrat and his wife, both asleep on a saucer to this side of the meaningless cosmos. Darn. We're so goddamn banished, it's crazy. The alarm from the robot manning the spaceship. Lenin watches from his Tsarstvo Niebiesna getting off, startling Earth's many thoughts. Clouds plevut vmeste. Down to hell on earth, we've crash-landed atop Australia, where kangaroos and cops walk together. The black dude and soft as a feather, Andrew's better half. I nod to Vera here.
Любимый, ты не заметила, как эти менты подпрыгивают, когда они ручки держат с кенгуру и ходят по улице? Это шутка или они на самом деле менты?
Yo, left the drinks locked inside with the cute cheek. UFO unique. Nasha Tachka, our sloop John B. Abracadabra tada. From the blackness of intergalactic struggle into the glad Australian bubble. There go the law books. It's over for koalas, Australia's xenophobic manifestation. It's not a parade nor peaceful, but have patience peppered with pessimism. The hangman awaits me, my clever devil woman, pale-facedly green. Australia's not for space people. Решили нас повесить. Trump xenophobic? Yeah, but what if we focus and imagine that when we replace him Mbaruk, there'll be no more racism? Till part 2. Andrew, don't disgrace our love with hard truths. His candle, upholding the flame of artifice, black souls. Awaken to darkness, capitalism's flow, replaced with Marxism. Imagine, no, race hierarchy. It's easy if you're a white xeno-pessimist alight in the flames of self-delight. No one will ever be afraid of black men again. After Satan's capitalism's end, black women will all just feel the love when all of us are equally drunk on an improbable peace under the gun. Till the state just withers away, trekking straight through this winter to relay whether the strangers in prison are okay to the dictatorship of wisdom over hate. No more exploitation of the poets, please, with the exception, of course, of those still policed, whose pens were boners indecent to the lenses unfocused on their own xenophobia. We need a society for all people. Yo, I have a dream that whiteys can be called Negroes, 'cause in my eyes, peoples is colorless as the water with ice pieces a-bobbing in it. Yo, I don't see chocolate or taste it. Don't you mean Homo sapiens? The xenomorph spat a thread of acid which, as semen or even his language just dangled, dripping speech and fragments onto the canvas, all weird, as if Jackson Pollock rapped thus. Leroy Jones, can you read with your peers? And please, whatever you do, just don't read Black Theory. It's just not community-minded, and as Marxists were utilitarians, apparently. Mbaruk served the blues sincerely, but who would ever hear me? White men with megaphones, like the denizens of hell returned, condemn us all to collective work to protect all who do not neglect to serve the collective first. That means respect your neighbors, even if they spread your legs for you, and enter your lady truth, which after all was made to be used and exchanged. Did you think we'd abolish white property? Are you deranged? We're not like Nazis. They were too openly hateful. We prefer truth on our tables with the food and the prayer books to Zeus and his stable of crooks on the Zoom call in his jail clothes. He may never get out. That's xeno-realism. Let's never pretend the trees weren't made with green veneer. It isn't evil or weird to just see things clearly and speak on them squeaky cleanly, stepping outside the white fantasy into the violence only black people perceive apparently. It's not really tied to the value they steal from you, rolling sushi for those white connoisseurs of seafood. The black experience is not truth, it's xeno-truth, a theory we don't use but to seem inclusive. Instead, let's pretend the tree's leaves were jewelry. Who gives a fuck about the astronauts' grief? No nigger nor nothing but to hang as the Negro, living, loving, and laughing from the tree. Victor Glover with his master's degrees. No, I didn't see why we went to the moon. The black astronaut was how much of a coon? Of the Glovers, Donald's now a little cooler. This shuttle off the clouds below. This is Uncle Tom to ground control. Victor Glover, just watch how I control the thrust of a rocket. Powerful. This son of a cop and proud of his role in this moon reiki. As two hands waving, will the black man ever walk upon the surface? At least he did the talk show circuit, doing his job to show Americans he's not your servant. Steering the plot as Whitey's second in command, posing like a comic book hero in the web propaganda. It's DEI, unprotected from its madness. Negro, why did you get involved in NASA's business? Getting ahead of all the Gil Scott Herons on the bongos, dissing old stock Americans. This is Uncle Tom to ground control. I'm feeling really weird, 'cause I'm floating in a very peculiar way, and the universe is all shimmery to me and my friends as we float in this little tin can, delivering these photos to the man. The dark side of the moon in all its glory. Dark side of the moon, where Marx tried to hide his truths. Dark side of this music. Dark side of the truth. Alright. The nigger entering halfway the prison of cisgender anti-racism. The lesser blacks were straight and narrow, as lesbians had no say elsewhere. I get in character with the hair dye, gathering the violent inclinations. Who's scared of the FBI and its agents? Not Black Lives Matter. More black like a panther with the facts like Kaepernick. Remember that kid? He knelt himself down into history like Lewinsky. Gown and everything, downing a gallon of mescaline for the forever trip. Was activism action figures of yourself in a mask? Was MF Doom radical? Molotov's comet shot across the long abyss, haunted with the problems twixt communists and Gnosticism, a cosmic insider trading, watching in his rhymes the cage shrink around the pinky trapping, a brain sprinkled in glowy ink on black paper. Free Congo, stop Israel. Joaquin Fox's mission as the chaplain, his wishful walk, catching a kitten in the wilderness and giving it all back into the system. The kitten lost to tax collectors, his silver mane meowing forever. The kidnapped cat, the catnipped feline, hidden in his raps from those who can actually freestyle. This opportunity comes once in a meaningless while. Do not miss your chance to suck.
Gotta record this before everybody gets on top. From dawn dusk, it's not moonshine, but it's ever clear that turned the weed into a valuable liquid. This oil in the lamp is the vape pen. This hard drive barely works. This beat will annoy the average person. Just got done sipping the liquid open sesame. This track sounds like neighbors arguing down the street. No soundproofing inside violence. Houseplant marijuana, PS5 rise up. On time, feeling inside. Got the golden cup, but no golden birthday to ride. Oh, you already had it when them boo-boo diapers. So inside, you just cry, 'cause it's not your life, son. Better call nobody. Somebody's over there, somebody's around the safe file to corrupt it. You open it up the next morning, fucked up Sunday. 132 hours of tension lost.
132 hours of tension lost.
Off that free 1996 payphone acid. From chicken pox to shingles on the gooch. From chicken pox to shingles on the gooch. Shit on your speakers, baby. They feeling the time waste. You gotta let them go. A flower growing into desperation that gets shut down by you, suck. The family's home, time to shut it down. Oh, but you're the keep on. The game only lasts 100 hours long. Like high as ever, I'll admit I drink THC liquid while driving to Cumberland, but the better baby don't want to include yourself in my doo-doo. Don't you wanna play with my shit too? I like the feeling of it in between my fingers when I dig in. Digging into shit. It's all shit, everything that I'm into. And I dig and dig and dig. Okay, this is enough. Turn this shit off. I got it.
Talking down eccentric Andrew Mbaruk atop the Mount Kenya of our statutes, Arctic cobbled together to apprehend the Marxists. His socks neath black leather stank with Mbaruk sweat. Running from the frosty runners on our cops' feet. The numberless squad leaders in humble competition. Was public pissing a crime? Another unsubtle winter time. Brown xeno-pessimists in cages. Down beneath the text and atop the day's news. Now policing all extensions of language. Now freezing all attempts at debate, though the snowfall may stop. It is my contention. The cop lay shot at the intersection. An insidious drip this icicle's pathos, like killing kids as ice in plain clothes, under the ringing blizzard, drinking Hitler's piss. and other things illicit. Fingerprint him, he's cool like that. Pursued by the man upon Hastings, the Sleet's glacial extension exonerated with DNA evidence from the lies delivered to us by the complainant to the eyewitness's spurious affidavit. Holding a drink so cold you can't taste it, that's poetry, the world's oldest profession. In her nightie, cornered and arrested. Finding the warrant in her nether region, behind the swarming evergreens, upon this icy northern hemisphere, the low temperature and coerced confessions. It's cold as hell where we live. The suspect's sole culpable, Sub-Zero, until from hibernation spins some wild perpetrator, ho, 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 in a Christmassy costume laughingly. Out-jizzing the volume of Canada, the deadliest laws as police in a SWAT though will never thaw, no matter the seasonal flux, slow across the tundra moving as a long undercover unit using it. The frigid made temperate, a huge enough dick to mitigate the sentence, period. You need to purchase a weapon to protect yourself from third-worldly aliens. The felony felt as twirling snowflakes, friends who'll never melt, no matter the flow of things, so tetrameter. A snow succinct, short lines, as the pig's tail slides so porcine, and imitating ice, fucking losers. I've walked up and down Canada, unattached as the Buddhist. Did I say unattached? Well, not to tuna fish. Those I just can't get enough of. In the sandwich, like busting a nut. In anguish, the structure of love. There's rules to this tuna fish game. I've discerned 10 tuna commandments. First, I know you've heard this ad nauseum. You've got to learn about fish and how they all swim. Some have big and others have small fins to comprehend how the tuna fit into all of this. The second rule, you forget this, you're fucked. Don't just go to school to get into fish stuff. Try swimming underwater to get all in their brains. Buy flippers and goggles and an oxygen tank. The third commandment I heard from my grandmother, that's don't go anywhere in the world without plastic cutlery. You're gonna need that to follow rule number 4, that's eat a lot of tuna. Tuna of all flavors. No one respects the tuna dilettante, talking his tuna talk, betraying innocence, with his every incomprehension of fish and wetness. Commandment 5 closes the first tablet, but actually 5's the most personal plus abstract. The idea you have in your mind of what tuna is says more about you than about the tuna fish. So shut the fuck up and just chew the fish, aka the Copenhagen interpretation. We're incapable of knowing, which in a way brings us to rule number 6. Tuna's not for kids. Sure, a can of tuna isn't crystal meth, but it sure can move you to live your life on the edge. 7, we don't love these tuna. 8, these fish don't understand truth. But 9, plunge your fork into the tuna on your plate. It's another form of human with a smaller fate. Never forget that. And here's the 10th commandment. Tuna antagonize even the sweetest among us. Rage against the night they're eaten up. our justice. Yet Tuna stay docile if you slip your cock inside him once in a while.
I can't say that. Tuna fucker.
Yo, if you were wondering who the 10 richest humans were in this immense glittery universe, listen friends to this great tune you heard, essential to the shape of every room you've worked in. These ain't squares, these 10, but cubic persons whose huge earnings constitute this music surface, the concept opening its possibilities like a nose-dripping snot into the night of one's coat, nigger dark and light, beginning with Jim Walton's might to own so many billions of dollars in delight, rolling in it. The dog spinning his whiteness, drunk before his elegant father into $147 billion. His father had the foresight to set up Walmart. His brother's the 9th richest guy, yclept Rob Walton, whose power is specialer than quantum particles. Now owning the Denver Broncos, are Rob now posing on the leathery soft sofa in Forbes. The Waltons are more or less as rich as fuck. What's his name? The CEO of Nvidia, Jensen Huang. He's a donor of millions to Stanford, a generous philanthropist. He's often living in San Francisco, and he's got $164 billion. Michael Dell was a tech entrepreneur when life was well into its seminal years, and $178 billion kept him away from this song's words, its message, our medium metal jacket, jeans, bent, a knee on the cement there in Silicon Valley. Speak of the devil, Larry Ellison, standing on the corner awaiting his assassin, $192 billion in his hand. The 5th richest animal zipped through Harvard's structure like inverted shrapnel, the literal Mark Zuckerberg of social media. His was the home of our evil twins, us. But his 200 and something billion pales next to the 200 and something belonging to Bezos. Who'd have thought that the Seattle bookstore was a concept he'd elastically work to deform, till it was known as the happiest thing to work for him, either that or being dirt poor. Among the truest, most wildly rich, the 3rd most guys, a computer scientist called Sergey. His billions and those of the 2nd richest equal not enough to eclipse the wealth of Elon Musk. He's got $782 while we struggle to hold maybe a toonie once in a while. Yo, that's the forces holding us together. Catch them in Forbes alone, though most of them were together in California. Yo, know our common enemy and have another morsel of hope tossed to us ahead into the sea. Fetch the gold and bury it, entombed beneath the living proletariat, as dead souls risible hilarious. Yet You get to know a rich soul by the bareness of his laughter. His conspicuously unembarrassed affluence, a symptom of the hunter's capitalist formalism, which doesn't spin as the axles of fortune, but gives to those who have the gift of importance within its unsystematic disorder, not Mbaruk lynched in the castle courtyard. Tuna salad for the soul. Tuna gravid as the tin can. Tuna ballads over the phone. As through Canada the railroad ran, so the tuna supply chains. The music that binds slaves together as the coffles of yester regime. Coughing up redly, knowledge he'd have bled, not to've believed. Another tuna-verse multiversal in its flavors. Smoother than sucking dick on a spaceship, you were smushed as tuna in a tin naked. John and Kisa Tunaman making love across the Tunaverse in all of its moves. Mbaruk over the chessboard, Jurassic as the T-Rex Charlie. In the trees, the tuna. So Jackson 5, the Lost World, holocaustic aquaculture, knives out. Cutting up the tuna like an editor. What was once truth is now set in stone. Delivering the eulogy as an elegy to produce a tuna record crucialer than Yeats. Here's the recipe. Throw in like 7 more cans of it, for it might be a metaphor for blackness, but also just literally tuna. In your waterbed, swimming confusedly, the big fish elegy. His dick hanging heavy. The tuna's what I came for, sexier than shooting liquid paper or glue, straight out of a straight and narrow truth. My tuna talk tequila, music fraught with meaning. Tuna. My comrades in poetry, dogs and cats mostly, 'cause art raps pointers to win debates and hard black falloy intimidate. Evidently I specialize in hip-hop composition. It's not hard to miss that. Party people get lit like the crack some of you smoking in the back in crack pipes of plastic. Such poetic facts as that Black Lives Matter collapse to the fire in a matter of seconds. You were fired 'cause your raps had no message. I've heard it said New York is the womb of these words, all by folks who don't know where Vancouver is. Boogie Down Productions, for example, couldn't solve the puzzles of our Andrew Mbaruk. All your songs are about human greed. That's that fucking right, you. Losing the energy to power their illusions. Cats aren't communists. They're about that capital. 2026. All your songs are about human greed. Is that a fucking right, you? 2020 lynched in the castle courtyard. lynched in the castle courtyard. I came here alone to demonstrate my devilry, uncontrollable red and blue penmanship. What was the role of death in these rhymes were it my soul elevated everything higher? I'd fly through the air. Nay, it's my language that sparkles. Nakedly Andrew Mbaruk on the tape with his hands on the microphone, gripping the structure of time itself in fucking rhyme sequential. It's a style of expression wilder than white representations of Eskimo folk. Andrew Mbaruk, better than dope. Life-changing in how deep in he forces it at your request. Everly, since the forceps, brotherly glee in his formal compression. Ever since, greener than the forest, swarming as feathery demons at war with heaven. The seagulls swirling over the factory. The souls of a few murdered whack MCs of the last time you performed here in an M&M sweater. And everyone was bored to tears, the less said the better. Meanwhile, my rhymes as red velvet, refined as the sugar, freestyling as if pressured by time's friend death here. To define the best ever as my text messages oral, designed as the epic or the chorus. He sighed and said, I'm just a normal poet, we're all dead or close to death. And I know it's not hip-hop to put restrictions on the poetry's inherent competition, yo. But we care not for disses, and rap is the chair, not who sits in it. All your songs are about human greed. Is that a fucking right, you? All your songs are about human greed. Cats aren't communists, they're about that. Cats aren't communists. Is that a fucking right, you? Cats aren't communists, is that a fucking right, you? Cats aren't communists, they're about that capital, losing energy to power their illusions. Lynched in the castle courtyard, losing the energy to power their illusions. Lynched in the castle courtyard, losing the energy to power their illusions. Slow summer of 26 for those stuck on the form of the chessboard, sway the slave dance on stolen metaphor, playing like they haven't known social death before. I know you got soul, cause you laugh when they're corrected. You pawns of African descent, yes, I know all the borders, the fucking squares. Don't cause me horror, I don't fucking care. Those zombie-dom be boring as snow falling mid-air. The psycho-formless in the photo, and caught in her hair. The white fro, lost in Canada's Bible. But we're all write the story though, like, no, we're not like the coroner. White as snow on the opposite side of the board from her. But we do know the game, we're not foreigners. We're not new to chess, eh? The cops controlling us, smash the chessboard. Smash the chessboard of peace. Smash the chessboard. Smash the chessboard of peace. Oh, my bishop, thrown from the chessboard to die for me. Hitler's heroics to many, surprisingly, as he's always meant zero to me and my people. Froze his image as an excellent liar, I mean speaker. Don't send them to find my queen and eat her. No chess game was worth such violent evil. Please see yourself as what you are, not niggers. We read the text in Love and Mbaruk, it's simple. The words free of death and under the stars as the abyss hurry. As the lover of art, to get rich. From your bizarre existence into this car, we're going infinite. I've been listening to Mbaruk, I'm beginning to get it. This written from the heart, literature unedited, hidden as Martians among the rest of us, Sartrean existentialists, starting to think about what chess is, man. His drink and cigarette in one hand. Yo, smash the chessboard. Smash the chessboard of peace. Smash the chessboard. Smash the chessboard of peace.
Не щекоти меня. Щекоти меня. Щекоти меня. Не 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 щекоти меня. Щекоти меня. Щекоти меня. Не щекоти меня. Щекоти меня. Не щекоти меня. Щекоти меня. Щекоти. Щекоти.
Не щекоти меня.
Не щекоти меня.
Не щекоти меня. Не щекоти меня.
Не щекоти меня.
Не щекоти меня.